Mr. Donalds from Florida.
Thank you, Chairman. Governor Walz, when did you first receive notice of potential fraud in Minnesota's social services programs?
Social service programs in general. We knew that there was issues with the CCAP program as early as 2012, and my first days in office, we started taking action.
But as governor, when were you first notified?
Before I took office.
All right, Governor Walz, former Department of Human Services Commissioner Tony Laurie testified that you were aware in early 2019 of fraud in 2 Department of Human Services administered programs. Is this statement accurate?
Not that I recall. I'm not sure what he's speaking about.
You don't remember this meeting or this notification?
No, not specifically, I don't.
In March of 2019, your Office of Legal Affairs reported $5 to $6 million in alleged child care assistance program fraud. In April 2019, it was also reported that the Department of Human Services lacked proper integrity controls to control fraud. Were you aware of these reports?
Not specific reports, but because of that, my office, we put forward actions to address them, starting in 2019.
Is it correct that your administration was aware of the Feeding Our Future fraud as early as of May of 2020, based upon regular discussions about program irregularities?
I believe that's correct with the agency, the Department of Education, and then going back to USDA.
I'm gonna go back. Was your office notified of these fraud allegations?
Not me specifically, that they're handled internally in the administration. It happens every day.
Who was notified, Governor Walz?
The agencies do their work, the commissioners, and then if someone in my office was notified, they let me know. As governor, I make, 50 decisions a day. I said I did this job for 12 years. I make more decisions in a day.
Governor Walz.
So someone was maybe notified, but the agencies are the ones that take the action.
May I ask the next question? We have it under sworn testimony in the Oversight Committee that your former Chief of Staff was notified directly by these various commissioners about the fraud in Minnesota.
That could be correct.
So are you saying that your Chief of Staff didn't notify you?
I'm saying I don't recall whether he did at that time or not, but we took action. So I'm assuming when we put our budgets together based on that, we put a package together for that legislative session.
Let's talk about budgets, Governor Walz. Feeding Our Future went from $307,000 in 2018 to $199 million in 2021. Are you aware of this increase in budgetary costs from Feeding Our Future?
Not specifically, but I know it increased during the pandemic.
The Housing Stabilization Services went from $27 million in 2021 to $105 million in 2024. Are you aware of this increase, Governor Walz?
Not specifically, but I know it increased.
Autism centers went from $24 million in 2019 to $342 million in 2024. Are you aware of that?
Not specifically again, but yes, we know the budget's increased.
Integrated community supports went from $4.6 million in 2021 to $170 million in 2024. Are you aware of that?
Again, not specifically on the numbers, but it's the budget.
Governor Walz, you have to submit a budget to your legislature every single year, like every governor has to do. If you're not aware of these increases, what was your office
Everyone
doing?
is balanced. My budget is about $72 billion. It includes 23 agencies.
Florida's budget's
$115
$115 billion, sir. But what were you doing if you're seeing program increases like this amid allegations of fraud in your state?
Action was being taken on these starting back in 2019. If it's CCAP.
Can you describe the action that was taken in 2019?
Sure. In the 2019, I'll go to the first things that we did on child care assistance. We lowered the standards on proof of administrative fraud disqualification.
Whoa, you lowered the standards?
We lowered the standards for proof of administrative fraud. The standards where we had to prove it were so high it was impossible to try and do it. So we lowered what it took to show that fraud was happening.
And what did you do with the results of lowering the standards to prove fraud? What did you do?
We put 79 people in prison and.
But Governor Walz, the fraud continued to increase. It increased under your tenure. Do you acknowledge that?
Did the numbers increase? Yes. And I tell you, when you catch people and prosecute them, it shows up at the fraud increase. I would tell you, Congressman, just because you're not hearing about fraud doesn't mean it's not happening.
I got 50 seconds, Governor, and I don't want to get into a fight with you, but let me move quickly to the Lieutenant Governor. Peggy Flanagan's your Lieutenant Governor, is that correct?
That is correct.
Does the Lieutenant Governor go on the ticket with you, or are they elected by themselves on a ballot in the state of Minnesota?
It's on a ticket.
It's on a ticket. Peggy Flanagan essentially works for you.
She has an independent office. She's a constitutional officer. She's on the ticket, but she is independent as a constitutional officer.
You could ask for her resignation at any time. Is that correct? That's typically how it works with lieutenant governors.
Yeah, but she's a constitutional officer. I don't believe that's happened in Minnesota.
Peggy Flanagan is, there are accusations that she was intimidating whistleblowers. There was a meeting on April 12th of 2024, where she went on stage and publicly denounced whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota, calling them losers in their mother's basements. Is this the type of treatment that your administration allows for whistleblowers in Minnesota?
I'm not familiar with that.
Are you aware of any intimidation of whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota?
No,
there are 30 whistleblowers who have given letters to this committee on the record saying that they have been subject to intimidation by your administration because they were trying to stop the fraud in Minnesota.
I encourage them.
This is what's going on. This Governor Tim Walz is giving a lot of just hoopla, I feel. And just observing this reaction to this video clip here, this news clip. He's not, this congressman from Florida has definitely shown over and over that your deficits has gone up substantially over 100% of the time, multiple hundreds of times, from 20-something, 30-something to 300-something to 100 and something. Now all of a sudden, you don't know nothing about the fraud that's taking place in your state, and then the congressman stated that you are now in charge of all this, and you got to turn your budget in annually, every year. You get to see all these budgets, so you knew things was going on. You saw the budget, you could see that's over 100%, multiple hundreds. The lowest one was, I think, that he recorded from 2018, 2019 was $100 and something million, when the original was like 20 something to 30 something million dollars. So $100 something million times 20 something, let's say the highest one was 30 something million dollars per annual year originally back in that time before that, and it just astronomically bloomed up to almost 300% more than the original amount, total amount. And you don't recognize you got to do this annually. You know there's something's going on with that. That it doesn't bloom that far. If your original budget that year, previous year, was 30-something million dollars, and now you come back and you want $100-some million, what does that tell you? Something major is going out of whack here, and something got to be proved. Why these people want over? You want 100% of everything you had last year? No, that's impossible. Something's going on, and you didn't investigate that. Come on, Governor Walz. You got to be honest. You can't. You're being calm now. You used to be very straightforward and arrogant in other meetings. Now, with these questions, he's been more subdued, and he's giving just blanket answers. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think with Tim Walz, the Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Is he taking
To go to the OLA and the independent sources in Minnesota that are
The
open to do
OLA,
that.
you're the governor.
No, the OLA is the independent.
But sir,
Office of
you're the
Legislative
governor.
Auditor.
Why don't you take responsibility for what's going on in your state?
We do take responsibility. None of those people, I'm telling you, I have no knowledge.
But you
of them
lost
coming
billions of dollars of American taxpayer money in the process, Governor Walz.
in. We prosecuted these people, Congressman. I think Florida has fraud.
I would argue that the prosecutions have largely come from the federal offices
That's
as
not how
opposed to
this
the state
works.
offices.
You know that we refer
What
them
do you
to
mean
them.
that's not how it works? That's
They're
exactly
partners.
how it works.
They're partners. They partner together. Our BCA.
Is the Attorney General allowed to investigate fraud and prosecute fraud in the state of Minnesota without the Department of Justice federally? Are you allowed to do that, Attorney General Ellison?
Yes, and we do prosecute Medicaid. Yes, and we do prosecute Medicaid fraud all the time. We've prosecuted over 300 people.
Apparently not enough, because Minnesota's rife with it. I yield back.
Congressman put him out there, he yields back. Tim Walz is not really standing on too much of nothing. He's trying to look innocent, like you don't know. You're the governor. You're the man. Basically, you're the comparatively, not nowhere near exactly, but you're the president of the state of Minnesota. The governor is the man. You have power and clout of the state of Minnesota, and you telling us, the American people, that you don't know what's going on in your state, and all these whistleblowers and everything's going on. Come on, my guy, you're blowing smoke up a tree. You know, the people know better. Americans know better. This is not the 1800s. This is not the 1800s. Technology advancement, everything is out there. The American people are smarter. We were smart back then, but we're definitely smarter now. and you knew what was happening, Governor Walz. You knew what was happening, and now you're in here. Now everything's being brought to the carpet, and you got to stand on the red carpet and present yourself. And now you're trying to play innocent. No, that's not going to work, buddy. You're going to be held responsible for some things there in Minnesota. You're not going to get away with this. It's not going to be allowed because that's billions of tax dollars that's been disappeared and brought a lot of pressure to the Minnesota people and to the citizens of the United States because you got a lot of federal dollars. So that's got to be held accountable for. You can't just walk away from that. What's your opinion? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'd like to hear from you. Yeah, he was trying to get away from it.